Okay, so I I do not know anything about this game. I'm just bored. I wanted something to play and do other than art because I've been doing a lot of that. And why is slow mode on? Hello? Did Siribot disabled slow mode apparently, but it's on? Question mark? So, oh well, all right, sure. Anyways, Wise. Yeah. So I honestly, I'm just bored. I just don't want to do more art like I have been recently, and yeah, I have no idea what this game is. It was apparently my my Steam library for some reason or another. So I said, fuck it, let's check it out. I guess because I don't want to do an actual game that might actually take like an RPG game kind of thing. So who knows? We'll see.
Kyle woke up. He is famous.
All right, you hear that? He's famous apparently.
Kyle is host of the most popular talk show in recent memory, Stay Up Late with Kyle.
Okay.
Stay Up Late with Kyle has grown in popularity quickly in the last year, and the public has noticed. Inside has called Kyle a most excellent dumpy white man.
Okay, that is a weird way of describing someone, a most excellent dumpy white man. Can we just call people dumpy white men now? Is this what the game's trying to tell me? Or dumpy white woman? I don't know.
Top Tech noted that Kyle is inspiring youth to explore STEM fields. Most other talk shows are dedicated to discussing Kyle and his personal details.
Man, these people are very dedicated to all things Kyle, apparently. If all other talk shows are dedicated talking about personal details.
Most online videos are best of clips taken from Kyle's latest broadcast. The eye of the world is upon Kyle. Tonight is Kyle's most important guest interview yet.
Okay.
Stay Up Late with Kyle will be featuring Rachel May. She is a kind and lovely philanthropist. She is dear to the hearts of many. This interview requires preparation.
Okay.
Kyle cracked his eyes open, knowing today is his last chance to prepare for the interview. Kyle has 30 hours left. He must choose his actions wisely.
I guess we'll start preparing then. Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. Wither away, exit the bed. As much as withering away would be kind of funny to see, I'm assuming there's some, fuck. Why am I blanking on what it's called now? Oh my god. Why? Hold on. Sorry. I'm blinking. Stanley Parable. I'm like, I knew Parable, but I'm like, why am I blanking on the name? Stanley Parable bullshit. Is this what this is? Is this Stanley Parable stuff going on here? Well, as interesting as withering away is, I guess I should probably do the right stuff the first time and then go for chaos after that. So let's exit the bed. Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance around his room. Open closet, sit at desk, scavenge, or exit bedroom to hallway. No, we're not gonna leave just yet. I'm assuming you need to get dressed or get ready to get for the day? Question mark. Open closet. Kyle opened the closet. It was really dark, and he could only see. It was dark, and he could only really see his hanging shirts. Why is the closet dork? Okay. What would scavenge do?
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his immediate need for...
Oh shit! I only have 26 hours left. Sorry, I had to go grab a drink. How are you? I'm okay, bored, but okay. Um, returned. Okay. Let's actually just choose an outfit, I
Kyle
guess.
decided to take some time to choose the
Man,
perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. How does it take 2 hours to choose an outfit? Jeans and swimming goggles, skunk pasties, suit of armor. Okay, well, I see where we're going with this game. We're still going to go with the like right choices first, and then I can like make it as chaotic as I want after. I imagine. I don't know. So let's do suit.
Kyle miraculously crammed his dumpy body into the suit. The chest pockets were filled with random knickknacks.
I really like how they're emphasizing that it's a dumpy body. Okay. Okay. So, walked into the small or hallway that connects the rooms of his apartment together. Check locked door. Um, why is hmm? Very interested, but probably should get food before interview or something. Cal walked to the center of the kitchen. Check pantry, open fridge. Fridge, I guess.
Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
Man, time goes by so quick in this. How has it been already? Was it 30 hours beforehand? How did you spend almost 15 hours? Not quite 15, but how did you spend that long still in your apartment in the morning time? Eat crust on fridge wall. Oh, God. Eat condiments? Uh, shit. How long is preparing breakfast gonna take if everything else has been this little bit? Mmm, ketchup. We love it.
Kyle constructed a breakfast of poached eggs and toast, along with a small fruit cup and grilled sausage.
We can smash it. It's just like tomato soup. You're not wrong.
Kyle ate his breakfast slowly and thoughtfully, enjoying every bite.
You know, for an hour.
He felt refreshed.
Uh, okay. So, um, just returned to the bedroom. I'm assuming I still want to know what the locked door is, but I'm assuming we leave because there's only 14 hours left. Wait, what? Oh, okay, interesting. Kyle walked out into the middle of the road and took a long, pondering look around him. Why is he walking out in the middle of the road? Boy! Um, his downstairs neighbor. Why are we doing either of these if you're not? Okay, is this an issue where I should have been like checking everything in the apartment to find more stuff here? Because why are we going to a tech store and why would we do this if you need to prepare tech store? I guess. Cal walked into the clean white tech store. He was greeted by Techno Jim, an elaborate cutout mascot playing soft music from a small microphone. Ask for free samples and steal Techno Jim. Why? Why would a tech store have free samples? All right, let's just waste more time, I guess. I guess let's just go back to the apartment. I don't know. Let's check that locked door.
Kyle
Fuck it.
walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Forced door with forehead. Uh, okay. Sit at desk. Maybe there's information there at the desk. Oh, yeah, you could have wrote notes for it, I guess, and checked desk drawer. Kyle made his way over to his desk and sat down. Let's write notes.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Are you a mother? Am I a mother? Ah, well, you know. Is your mother a mother? Yeah, I guess.
Kyle wrote down his second question.
What are some diet tips? Beef mashed or blended? Why would you mash or blend beef? Ever eaten a raw egg whole? Alright, I see where we're going with this game, I guess. It's kind of interesting. I guess diet tips.
Kyle wrote down his third question.
What's your funniest story? Do you ever smile? I purposely ran over a puppy? What the fuck?
Kyle wrote down his last question.
I like the, are you guilty? Do you feel guilty? What's your guilty pleasure? We definitely have to do Are You Guilty at some point, but...
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk.
Okay. Got up from the desk, but we're going back to the desk, and we only have an hour left, so... we have 0 hours into the interview. Check your work. Is it just automatically gonna shuffle me there, or what?
Kyle hurried to the set.
Okay, I was wondering about that.
Sitting across from his host chair was a glamorous woman with an air of genuinity. As Kyle approached her, Rachel looked up and smiled. "Good evening, Kyle," she said, looking him in the eyes. "I've been looking forward to being here." Kyle responded.
Scream and spin in circles. Ah, yes, I occasionally like to scream and spin in circles. Sometimes I like to scream while I'm spinning in circles. I call it multitasking, you know, just totally normal things.
"And I as well, Rachel," answered Kyle, extending his hand in greeting. "You are a most welcome guest." After other mild exchanges of pleasantries, Kyle and Rachel were prompted to take their places for the broadcast. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on.
Oh, okay. You are a most welcome guest. Showtime.
"Good evening, everyone," said Kyle, looking at the camera. "Welcome back to Stay Up Late with Kyle.
We're gonna introduce.
Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction." Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. "Hello, Kyle," she said. "I'm glad to be here." "Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss, so we might as well dive right in," said Kyle. "I'm very ready," said Rachel with a winning smile.
So what does a losing smile look like? Important questions, you know?
Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier.
Ah, I see. I guess that.
"Rachel, you managed to keep such a thin and healthy figure," said Kyle. "What is your best diet tip?" "Well, a good diet starts with a plan," answered Rachel. "And don't break it. Cheat days can turn into a habit."
Oh, ain't that true? In general.
"But," she continued, "that doesn't mean a midnight snack here and there isn't allowed." She smiled. Kyle looked at his flabby self, decided not to comment, and moved on.
I already forgot what they kept calling him.
Kyle asked another question.
Sure.
"We all have one. What's your guilty pleasure?" "Ooh, well, that's an easy answer," said Rachel. "Dipping pickles in chocolate sauce."
That sounds gross, but to each their own. I don't know. Maybe it might actually be good. There's plenty of weird food combinations that are good, so who knows?
"It might sound strange, but it's tangy and sweet at the same time. I eat it far too often." Rachel smiled sweetly. Kyle asked another question. "Rachel, I and many others would love to know, are you a mother?" Kyle looked up from his notes. "Well, being a single woman with a career," she answered, "that's not something that has crossed my mind." Rachel smiled genuinely at Kyle. "Very reasonable indeed," said Kyle. He referenced his paper of questions. Kyle asked another question.
So you basically ask all questions regardless. Okay.
"You've been involved in a lot of different things," said Kyle. "But what's your funniest story?" "Well, that's a great question, Kyle," said Rachel. I think the story I always remember is the first time I tried to make dinner for my family. In the soup I made, I swapped out the water with milk and tipped the whole jar of salt in the pot.
Oh, wow, okay.
While my family was sick from trying to eat it, I swiped their things and locked myself in my room.
Uh, okay. Why? There's so many questions I could ask, but the first thing that comes to mind is why.
Rachel laughed elegantly. Kyle decided
Okay,
to move on.
yeah.
After reading his final question, Kyle looked up from his paper. Well, Rachel, he said, I think that's all I was planning on asking you. If that's the case, Kyle, may I ask you something in return? Asked Rachel, smiling one more time. Do you prepare for your interviews in advance? Because you seem very together. Before Kyle could answer, the camera shut down. The broadcast was over.
I mean, that's a weird time to shut the broadcast off, but sure.
Kyle returned home knowing the interview had gone well. But as he lay in bed and drifted to sleep, he felt that perhaps something was still missing.
Kyle prepared very well. More world questions? What? Wait, hold on. Unlocks? Oh, you can unlock cursors apparently. Okay, so... Huh. So yeah, we are looking for a bunch of different ones. I've been watching this whole time and none of this has made sense. I mean, fair. Yo, wait, this one made by one of the Smensky brothers? I'm assuming. I don't know who that is. According to this, I don't know who it is. Yeah, I realize that, but I don't know who that is.
Kyle woke up.
Okay, so it's time to do the most chaotic endings now, right? I'm just gonna wither away.
Kyle decided to stay put and wither away. Kyle withered successfully and died.
Alright, cool. He successfully withered away, so there's that. Shucks! Yeah, I still don't know who they are. New Blood Interactive is just a pretty cool publisher. Deathbed, okay. Shucks.
Kyle is now a ghost. This does not relieve him of his
What,
responsibilities.
I'm sorry? Why does that not relieve him of his responsibilities? The guy's dead. Don't mind me nonsense. No, it's fine. I just don't know, like, streamers or, like, game developers or game companies, really. Unless you were to say, oh yeah, this company made this game and it's possibly a game I know, then I'd be like, oh, okay. But just going, oh, it's this person, I'm like, I don't know who that is. So, there's nothing wrong with it, it's just I don't know anything about it. I guess we're getting out of bed anyway. Why does this not relieve him of his responsibilities? Dusk and Ultra Kills. Okay, I think I've heard of Dusk. Doesn't help my brain scrambled. Fair enough. Okay, again, why? Why are we still... Alright, let's open the closet again. What? Inspect rusty locker? Huh? Hold on.
Kyle knelt down and inspected the old, rusty container that had been in his closet for ages. It was locked, but had a blade-shaped slot in the top.
Why does it have a blade-shaped slot at the top? Okay.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Okay, well, if he is a ghost, what would be the most amusing of this is obviously the or skunk pasties.
Kyle chose the pasties made out of mashed skunk flesh.
Ma- why? 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 I mean, I can't really ask why. I'm the one who decided to go with it, I guess. It's just weird.
Getting the slimy garments to stay proved difficult, so Kyle opted to stick them to his body with hot glue.
What body? You're a ghost! Um, what if you scavenge?
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing his
Oh,
immediate
right.
need for...
Resources?
Kyle began to comb through the damp piles of filth and mold on his floor in search of helpful
Oh.
items.
Oh, why do you have mold on your floor? Like the filth, maybe, but mold?
After finding and eating a few bits of crumbs and old cheese, Kyle found something much more important.
Okay.
Indeed, it was the corpse of Harry, a friend that had gone missing years ago while at Kyle's house.
Well, okay. Okay. What? So, your friend goes missing, and the last place you'd seen him was at your house, but you decide not to, like, investigate what might have happened? And you're like, well, whatever, he's gone. I guess he's dead. Let's just move on with our life. And how would you not notice the smell of a corpse? What? How would you not notice a corpse? Excuse me? Oh no! I can only imagine this. The smell must be unbearable after a while.
Kyle was glad to see him again, but was unsure of whether to interrupt such an important day with Harry business.
No, we'll deal with Harry. We'll deal with Harry.
Kyle hoisted Harry onto his shoulder and took him outside.
You're a ghost.
Kyle began dragging Harry's body down the street, drawing many, many stairs.
I mean, yes, that would indeed involve a lot of stairs, but also you're a ghost. That's also gonna cause stares of a body floating or being dragged or something, I don't know. Unless they see you as a ghost, I don't know.
Kyle knew exactly where he needed to take Harry's corpse. On a lovely playdate, just the two of them.
Yeah, that's the first thought we get for that, huh?
Kyle and Harry started at the arcade. Kyle used Harry's arms to operate the joysticks and push buttons.
Yeah, totally normal.
After 5 or 6 different games, the two friends had enough tickets for a single candy bar.
Neither of you can eat it.
They took their prize to the local park for eating.
Neither of you can eat it. You're a ghost and he's dead.
Kyle tried to feed some of the chocolate bar to Harry, but Harry seemed to not have an appetite.
I wonder why. Also, if you're a ghost, wouldn't you be able to see your friend's spirit as well?
After eating, Kyle noticed a nearby playground. He dragged Harry over. Kyle tried to figure out a way to swing Harry onto the swing set, but, lacking the ability to grip, Harry kept falling out.
I mean, also that said, how can you do it unless you can touch tangible things as a ghost? This all just comes back to being a ghost, basically.
Instead, Kyle started to lug Harry to the top of the slide and shove him down time and time again.
I bet Harry's having a great time.
Finally, Kyle took Harry to the movies to see as many popular films as their pocket change allowed.
Also would raise budget questions.
Kyle quickly found that he had no pocket change, so he searched through Harry's pockets until he found his wallet. Kyle bought 2 tickets to A Love Romance. After getting inside, Kyle left Harry to go find a restroom. By the time Kyle had finished using the restroom, he had forgotten that he brought Harry along.
Oh, well, at least Harry's having a good time watching this rom-com. Am I right, guys?
Kyle watched A Love Romance by himself. Harry's corpse sat on a bench in the atrium.
Oh, okay, he didn't even get to see it.
While Kyle was in the movie, a beautiful thing happened. Harry's corpse, imbued with the power of friendship and love, was reanimated.
How? Okay.
Harry's old, rotten flesh gained color and life. His fingernails regrew. His missing eye came back. By the time the movie was over, Harry was able to greet Kyle with a large, friendly hug as his old self.
Okay, but you're also a ghost still.
Kyle was confused but delighted to have his long-lost friend meet him on his way out of the theater. The two made plans to get drinks together and parted ways for the day. Kyle returned home, forgetting about the interview with Rachel.
I mean, it wouldn't matter, you're a ghost. He helped a friend, though. They had many adventures around town, apparently. Okay, let's do that, I guess. Uh...
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is.
Suit of armor, let's go. Wait, no, if we want to ask some really weird, outrageous, questions, shouldn't we go for the jeans and swimming goggles or the skate? God damn it, why do I keep messing that? Skunk pasties? We'll do the jeans, because it...
Kyle decided on a fashion-forward, casual style. He could barely see out of the goggles.
Because we did the other one. Let's write notes.
Kyle wrote down his first question.
Am I a mother?
Kyle wrote down his second question.
What sounds more obnoxious? Ever eaten a whole, raw egg whole or beef mashed or blended? Let's see. I don't really know.
Kyle
I'll do
wrote
that.
down his third question.
I want to
Kyle
run over
wrote
a
down
puppy.
his last question.
Are you guilty?
Kyle ripped his page of notes out of the notebook and got up from the desk.
Ooh, there's a small key, though. Kyle opened the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items stored there. Flashlight. I guess you could use the flashlight to look into the thing, I guess? Assorted change. Oh, that's where you could take your friend or something. I don't know. Actually, I have money. It's a small key.
Kyle grabbed the small key he kept in his desk.
Let's inspect Rusty Locker if that key goes to it.
Kyle knelt down and inspected the old, rusty container.
No. Check locked door.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door
Oh,
was
it's locked from
the
inside. Let's check pantry this time.
Kyle wanted to access the
hey.
pantry, but found it was locked with a small keyhole. The pantry door lock creaked as if it hadn't moved for years, but eventually opened. Instead of an assortment of canned goods and grains, Kyle's pantry stored his massive amount of bottled lard.
Why do you have a massive amount of bottled lard just locked into your pantry? Time to chug that bottle of lard.
Kyle voraciously grabbed the closest bottle, snapped the neck against the wall, and sucked out all of the fat within a minute.
Damn. Wait, can you just keep chugging?
Kyle wildly sucked down another bottle. He felt very sick.
Vomit on the floor and stop. Uh, bad food. I imagine. Okay, I do kind of want to scream at her. Are you guilty? So we'll stop.
Kyle hurried to the set. Sitting across from his host chair was a... As Kyle... Good evening, Kyle, she said. Kyle responded.
Now we're gonna scream and spin in circles.
Kyle stretched his arms wide, tilted his neck upwards, and... was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show.
Oh, you couldn't scream? Huh. You can insist, though, but I do want to yell at her if she's guilty.
A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good evening, everyone, said Kyle. Kyle vomited all of the horrible things he had eaten earlier onto the floor.
Oh, okay. That's the only introduction you need, Rachel.
Rachel looked at Kyle, concerned, gave a couple coughs, and decided to play it cool and keep the show running. Kyle stopped, then vomited again, then continued with a shaky voice. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction.
You can become Rachel May? No, I still want to scream, are you guilty?
Kyle motioned to Rachel, who smiled and waved at the camera. Hello, Kyle. She's... Well, I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss. So we might as well dive right in.
I feel like these people absolutely come to watch him vomit onto the floor and then just continue on like nothing's wrong.
I'm very ready, said Rachel. Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier.
What would be a comedic? I just want to start with "Are you guilty?" But let's start with the weird, or like not as weird or offensive.
Rachel, am I a mother? Kyle looked at her very seriously. Rachel was visibly unsure of how to respond. Well, Kyle, I think you might be a better source of answering that question than I am. But do you think I'm a mother? Asked Kyle, pushing further.
We gotta push that.
Rachel paused for a second before answering. I think you inspire youth to pursue STEM fields, she answered. Kyle asked another question.
But you didn't answer if I'm a mother. Have you even ever eaten a raw egg whole?
Hey, Rachel, ever eaten a raw egg whole? Asked Kyle. Like shell and all? Asked Rachel. Kyle continued. I have, like, a lot. It's really bad, though, so sometimes I spit it back up.
Was it in the vomit?
There was a silence.
I don't imagine why there'd be a silence about that. It's a very serious question.
It actually gets easier the more you do it, continued Kyle without losing momentum. So don't start, I say. Rachel chose not to answer and looked in another direction. Kyle asked another question.
I feel like the "do you ever smile" is more relatable in this.
Do you ever smile? Spat Kyle. Like, seriously. Rachel stopped smiling.
Well, she was when you said it.
If you're gonna be on the show, you need to smile, okay? Said Kyle, not smiling. You're here to get views, and you'll get more views if you smile. Here, I'll show you how.
Oh, okay. You show us.
Kyle turned to the camera and gave the audience a huge, teeth-clenched, bug-eyed grimace. Rachel nodded and obviously wanted to move on. Kyle asked another question.
Oh, perfect. We can end on this. Are you guilty?
Rachel, Are you guilty? Kyle threw his questions on the floor, stood up, and pointed at her.
Ah, perfect. I'm glad we waited for this to the end.
Rachel's eye twitched slightly. Guilty of what, dear Kyle? She smiled disingenuously. Guilty, spat Kyle. Of your crimes!
Dun dun dun!
Rachel did not answer. Her eyelids both started twitching uncontrollably.
Are you still happy you came, Rachel?
After reading his final question, Kyle looked up from his paper. Well, Rachel, he said, I think that's all I was planning on asking you. If that's the case, Kyle, why exactly did you decide to wear swimming goggles today?
Then why not?
Before Kyle could answer, the camera shut down. The broadcast was over. Kyle returned home knowing the interview had gone well.
It had gone very well. Also, I love how it just ended on, why are you wearing goggles today? As like, you'll never know that answer. It's a mystery. You have to tune in next time to find out.
But as he lay in bed and drifted to sleep, he felt that perhaps something was still missing?
He prepared very well, though. Don't worry about it. Alright, let's maybe look for the key? No, not the key. Where was the... Where was the flashlight? Scavenge?
Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor, realizing
Resources?
Kyle began to comb through the damp piles of filth and mold after finding and eating a few. Indeed.
Oh, nope, we're going to Kyle, his friend.
Kyle was glad to see him again, but was unsure of whether...
Another time.
Kyle decided Harry could wait another day and quietly folded a pile of filth back on top of it.
Totally normal. Was it at the desk? Oh, it was the desk. Okay.
Kyle grabbed the flashlight, but after jiggling the switch, he found it was out of batteries.
Oh, well. Is there nothing you could do about the rusty locker?
Kyle knelt.
Okay.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is. Kyle was unsure of what exactly caused him to decide to wear his armor, but it felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah, probably.
After much squeezing and sweating, Kyle managed to wrap
Dumpy.
the metal suit
There we
around
go.
his dumpy self. Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat.
You can eat the fridge, apparently. I'm gonna eat the condiments, though.
Kyle started to grab condiments from the fridge, squirting them into his mouth with both hands.
I mean, that's skillful if you're wearing the helmet on at that point in time.
Ketchup, horseradish, and mayonnaise entered Kyle's mouth at a rate that soon overwhelmed his ability to swallow.
Oh, this couldn't go well.
Kyle spewed the excess condiment slurry across the kitchen, covering the furniture and walls.
It's fine.
Kyle continued until all of the condiments had been emptied.
Oh, he continued even after that. Alright, good to know. And he prepared no questions, so we'll see how this goes.
Kyle hurried, as Kyle... Good evening! Kyle responded.
Well, obviously... You get cut off if you scream in circles, unfortunately.
And I as well, Rachel. After other mild exchanges of pleasant, a moment after Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I have the pleasure of interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction.
We're going to become Machel Ray. It's fine.
However, said Kyle, suddenly dropping his voice, Rachel May is not sitting next to me.
Because I have become Rachel May somehow.
She is not new to this show. She did not walk in before me. In fact, said Kyle, I am Rachel May. Rachel looked at Kyle, confused, and silently mouthed the words, You are who?
You heard me. Faker.
Kyle stood up quickly and threw his arm high above him, pointing upwards. I have never been, Kyle, he proclaimed. I have never been the host of the show Stay Up Late with Kyle.
Gasp. Oh my god.
Kyle looked and pointed directly at the camera. I am here for but one reason, to interview myself. Kyle sat down in his chair and went to produce the notes he had taken earlier.
I didn't take any notes earlier.
It was then that Kyle remembered that he had not bothered to prepare any notes for the interview. Realizing he did not know how to handle this situation, Kyle began sweating profusely, but he continued.
That's dangerous in that suit of armor.
Firstly, he said, Is your name Kyle? No! Kyle slammed his fist down repeatedly. Then he stopped talking.
Okay.
A thick, uncomfortable silence hung over the studio. The silence did not end. The cameras continued to roll. Nobody moved or spoke.
The show must go on.
Eventually, Rachel got out of her chair and walked off.
It's okay. I am Rachel May now.
One by one, members of the crew followed suit.
I mean, that is, like, the right thing you would do in this circumstance. Let's be real.
Eventually, Kyle was left alone in the studio, camera still running, silently sitting in frame. This episode of Stay Up Late with Kyle became the longest episode in television history. Kyle continued to sit in front of the camera all night and into the morning, wishing it would end. As evening fell again, the crew shuffled back in one by one, getting in places to film that day's episode.
And the entire time, he had the suit of armor on.
Kyle continued to sit motionless, cameras rolling, as the crew chatted about their days and got in position. Eventually, the crew officially started the next episode. Kyle was prompted to introduce himself again.
Still wearing that suit of armor.
Kyle had produced an incredibly artistic episode.
Oh, wait, I guess we're ending here. He was artistic. That's cool. Okay, let's see. No unlocks there, but... endings? He was very quiet, apparently. Helped an old friend. Has a lot of endings. Okay, I guess it may not hurt to just kind of like double up on stuff.
Kyle woke up.
So maybe just do it the right way I had initially and just do options differently as time goes by. Well, we'll try that.
Kyle decided to take... Kyle miraculously...
And then...
Kyle wrote down his first question.
We'll just do, like, what I basically did, but just do slight differences after.
Kyle wrote down his... Kyle ripped...
Hmm.
Kyle, Kyle constructed a breakfast of poached eggs and toast, along with a small fruit cup and grilled sausage.
I think I might make the differences at like the interview part of it because there was the whole screaming whatever there.
Kyle ate his.
Um, well, there's still time, so let's check in the thing here. There were no flat or no batteries, so we couldn't use that. So we know the key, the sword change probably goes with the whole friend thing. So let's try CDs. Oh, so you can take music with you, I'm assuming? Kyle began shuffling through the dusty CD pile that had held all of his favorite music. Many of the CDs were unlabeled or labeled or broken. So we did carnival music, classical music, festival music, and dance music. Um, hmm. I guess we'll do classical. Kyle grabbed a CD covered in pictures of string instruments. Um, let's visit the neighbors.
Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door and knocked.
No, okay. We're just gonna knock on their door, and that's how we're doing, and then we're skedaddling.
Kyle hurried to the set. As Kyle approached her. Good evening, Kyle, she said. Kyle responded.
Well, clearly we have to scream and spin in circles because we did answer politely before.
Kyle stretched his arms, was interrupted by his producer telling him and
All
Rachel
right,
that
you
it
can
was time to
insist.
start the show.
We'll just start interview and maybe insist next time.
A moment after seating, the studio. Good evening. Tonight, I have the pleasure of
Oh,
interviewing the lovely Rachel May, who needs no more introduction.
you can produce CD though.
As Rachel started to reply, Kyle clamped his hand over her mouth.
Oh, okay.
Hush, he said. I need to do something before we can continue. Kyle removed the CD he had brought to the interview and placed it in a nearby player deck. The sound system kicked into action, piping Kyle's music throughout the studio.
At least it's classical, right?
Rachel briefly listened, a blank expression on her face. Smiling, Kyle closed his eyes and enjoyed the music for a moment. Then, he spoke. All right, now everything's ready. Let's begin.
Begin for real.
Kyle produced the notes he had taken earlier. Rachel. I'm sorry, Kyle, said Rachel. What on earth is this music? It's very... Well, it's something.
I mean, you don't like the classical? I mean, it could have been worse.
It's an old favorite, Rachel, said Kyle. This is what I grew up on. It's part of my most special collection. Kyle and Rachel sat silently, the music playing in the background. Rachel began to frown. Suddenly, the wall next to Kyle exploded.
Okay.
Through the hole stepped several men in dazzling, flamboyant costumes of bright color. They held guitars, pianos, and other instruments.
Uh-huh.
Kyle, said the man in front. We are the band of your childhood.
Sure.
Kyle's jaw dropped, smiling. He put his hands to his cheeks. His eyes sparkled. We have come to issue a grievance about playing our music on TV without a license.
Oh, okay.
The man took his guitar in both hands and began slamming Kyle's face
Oh,
repeatedly.
alright.
After several hours, the grievance had been sufficiently repaid. The band left through the hole they had created in the wall.
Wow, this went on for several hours, huh?
Kyle lay on the floor, thinking about what had happened. Rachel slowly slid to his side. Are you feeling okay, Kyle? She asked. She had a concerned expression on her face. Have you ever met your childhood idol, Rachel? Asked Kyle. The person you looked up to for as long as you can remember. I can't say I have, said Rachel. Kyle raised both fists into the air. It feels amazing!
Yeah, don't worry about getting your ass kicked.
Kyle spent the rest of Rachel's interview chatting happily about meeting his lifelong favorite band. Rachel listened and asked questions politely, seeming unfazed that her moment on TV had been uprooted.
Oh, okay, as long as she's okay with it.
Eventually, the studio was out of time and the broadcast shut off.
I like how the other one actually, went on forever, but this one just shuts off.
Kyle and Rachel walked out of the studio together. Kyle was grinning widely. The two said their goodbyes and walked off in separate directions. As Kyle walked home, he felt like the interview had been everything he had hoped it to be. Kyle had gotten everything he had ever wanted as a child.
He played music. Alright, sure. Okay. So, not quite the change I was expecting.
Kyle exited his bed and took a quick glance. Kyle opened the closet. It was dark, and he could really only see his hanging shirts. Kyle woke up.
Okay. So, don't take the music? I mean, there was no batteries for the flashlight, so
Kyle
I don't know
grabbed the
if it makes
flashlight.
any difference. Maybe if you, look for...
Kyle wrote down his... Kyle wrote... Kyle wrote... Kyle...
Maybe if you scavenge,
Kyle
you can
quickly
find
crouched down on the floor.
batteries.
Kyle began to comb through... After finding and eating a few... Indeed. Kyle was glad. Kyle decided...
Oh, right, it's just the friend thing that's there. Okay,
Kyle decided to take some Kyle Kyle opened the fridge, intending to find something to eat. Kyle constructed a
well,
breakfast
time
of
to
poached
smash
eggs.
it.
Kyle smashed his breakfast to a pulp using both fists. Kyle wanted to access the pantry, but found it was locked with a small keyhole. Kyle hurried, sitting as Good? Kyle responded. Kyle was interrupted by his producer telling him and Rachel that it was time to start the show.
Well, time to insist.
Kyle shoved his producer out of the way, spread his arms wide, and began to scream loudly. He began to rotate slowly, screaming throughout, lightly brushing his hands against the faces of Rachel and his producer. After several minutes, Kyle was finished. He slowly put his hands to his sides and smiled. I'm ready, said. Rachel blinked at Kyle, shrugged, and walked over to her seat. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good evening, Tonight, I have the pleasure... Kyle motioned to... In response, Kyle collapsed on the floor.
Why did he collapse on the floor?
From a combination of
Oh,
stressful
right.
preparation and not eating anything, Kyle had passed out.
Because he smashed his food.
Nobody in the studio quite knew what to do with him. They began to poke Kyle in the back to see if he moved. After a while, they ended the broadcast, shut off the lights, and went home.
Oh, okay. Just like that.
Kyle was left face first on the floor.
Man, no one bothered to check in on Kyle aside from that. New cursor? Heck yeah. By starving himself.
Kyle's first decision of the morning.
Unlock. Ooh. So I wonder if you have it as a cursor, you can actually, like, maybe see? Oh. Maybe. We'll see.
Kyle.
But there's a... Okay, maybe not.
Kyle decided to take some time. Kyle miraculously...
Okay, well, I guess not.
Kyle wrote...
Oh, I
Kyle
smashed it
his
again.
breakfast
Dang
to a
it.
pulp using both fists.
Hold on.
Kyle decided to... Kyle wrote down his... Kyle opened the fridge. Kyle ate his breakfast.
I guess we could just waste time and maybe see what happens if he screams, but, like, he doesn't pass out because he ate.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Nah, fuck it. Let's force it.
Kyle decided it would be best to try to force the door open with use of his face. After smashing his features into solid wood for several minutes, Kyle gained severe short-term amnesia.
Okay.
Kyle walked over to the strange door in the hallway, but found quickly that the door was locked from the inside.
Oh, so you still can't check it out. All right.
Kyle approached his downstairs neighbor's door, and a middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door.
You can consume Gabby. You can spin a scream and spin there too. Okay. Well, I mean, he does have amnesia, so...
Slowly, Kyle started to twirl outside of Gabby's door, arms outstretched. He tilted his neck upwards and let loose a long, passionate, and meaningful scream. As Kyle continued to spin, Gabby shut and locked her door, as she did every time Kyle screamed outside her door.
Okay, that's very sensible, though. I'm glad we had the time to do that, I guess.
Eventually, Kyle ran out of breath and fell over. Sitting as good, Kyle responded.
Forgot her name from amnesia.
Hello. You. Kyle's ears began to ring from his concussion. Rachel looked at Kyle, slightly confused, but continued smiling. Before she noticed the glazed look in Kyle's eyes, the producer approached. Time to get started, he said, putting a hand on Kyle's shoulder. Let's get stationed. Kyle sat in the nearest chair, which was Rachel's. After a moment, Rachel hesitantly sat in the host chair. A moment after seating, the studio lights brightened and the cameras clicked on. Good morning, everyone, said Kyle. My name is...
Yeah, that's it. That's his name.
Kyle made a desperate effort to remember his name, or really anything. Kyle looked at Rachel. Do you know who I am? He asked. Rachel looked back, confused. Who are you? Well, if you're not Kyle, I don't know who you are. Rachel smiled sweetly. Kyle made up his mind that he was probably Kyle.
Oh, probably.
Well, he said, I'm Kyle. A long silence followed. Eventually, Rachel spoke again. And I'm Rachel. Hi, everyone. She waved. Hi, Rachel, said Kyle. So why are we here? Rachel was visibly worried. Ha ha, funny, she said. Weren't you planning on asking me any questions? I mean, I don't have any ideas, said Kyle. Kyle kept staring at Rachel.
I have those notes though, so there's that.
Someone coughed. Kyle looked around and noticed the crew. Who on earth are all of you? He asked. Nobody answered. Kyle got out of his chair and walked off frame, leaving Rachel alone with millions of viewers. Rachel smiled at the camera nervously. Well, she said, let me tell you some knock-knock jokes.
Oh, we're going so well with this.
Eventually, the producer ended the broadcast early due to technical issues. Kyle woke up in his bed the next day, remembering nothing about what had happened.
We forgot everything. Okay. So I guess we don't give ourselves a concussion.
Kyle decided... Kyle wrote down... Kyle wrote... Kyle wrote... Kyle... Kyle... Kyle opened the fridge. Kyle...
Uh, let's
Kyle
actually
approached his
have an
downstairs
actual
neighbor's door
conversation.
and knocked. A middle-aged woman named Gabby answered the door.
God, why are we consuming Gabby?
Good morning, neighbor, said Kyle cheerfully. Gabby looked at Kyle expectantly.
Ask Gabby about Gabby. Ask Gabby about Rachel, and ask Gabby about Kyle. How you doing, Gabby?
Gabby asked Kyle, tell me about yourself. Gabby stiffened. Oh, you know, she said, putting on a fake smile. I just sit around here. Yes, I don't get around much. Never go out at night. I just stay here, right here. Gabby glared at Kyle.
Why are you glaring?
Convinced by Gabby's statement, Kyle bid her goodbye and returned to the street.
Ah, okay. That's all we needed to talk about.
Sitting across, as Kyle approached, good evening. Kyle responded.
We're gonna assist.
Was interrupted by Kyle. He began after Rachel. A moment. Good. Tonight I have the. Kyle motioned to Rachel. Well, I'm sure we'll. Kyle produced the notes. Rachel, you managed. What? Rachel. If that's the case, Kyle, do you prepare for...
Oh, he seems very
Before Kyle
together
could
still,
answer,
though.
Kyle returned, but as he lay...
Oh, no. Okay, so it doesn't make much difference with that, then, even if you scream randomly. Okay. Wait, so you can use the key for something else, apparently. We could do the change, maybe, with the friend.
Kyle woke up.
I might not do too many more, because I don't know how many more you could do. But, what if you just don't get dressed either?
Kyle scooped up the change scattered around the desk drawer. Kyle quickly crouched down on the floor. After fight. Indeed, Kyle was glad to see him. Kyle began dragging Harry's body. Kyle knew exactly where he. Kyle and after 5 or. They took their prize to the. Kyle tried to feed some of the. After eating, Kyle tried to feed. Finally, Kyle took Harry to the movies to see as many popular films as their pocket change allowed. Kyle had plenty of pocket change. He eagerly approached the ticket window. Kyle bought 2 tickets to A Love Romance. By the time Kyle had finished using the restroom,
so it's basically the same thing, just
along.
You have the money instead of taking it from the wallet.
Kyle watched A Love while Harry's old. By the time Kyle was confused, but the two made plans. Kyle returned home.
Okay, so that didn't really do any good.
Okay, Kyle exited it. Kyle made his way. Kyle opened up the side drawer of his desk and grabbed one of the items.
So yeah, what if you just don't change? You just do the same thing otherwise?
Kyle opened the. Kyle.
I guess trying to kill time to see what happens if that's the one thing that's different.
Strange door in the hall. Kyle grabbed the.
Oh, I wonder if. Tech store. No?
Kyle asked the store attendant whether or not they offered any free samples to important customers. The attendant gave Kyle a confused and slightly vacant look. Kyle began to beg for a free sample.
For what?
Wanting Kyle to leave, the attendant grabbed a decrepit phone meant for spare parts and held it out.
Crab with teeth.
Rachel's smile quickly turned to shock as she realized Kyle had not put on clothes that day. Kyle waved and smiled broadly. Rachel uncomfortably averted her eyes. Kyle started making his rounds around the room, greeting each crew member, none of whom looked at him directly. As it became apparent that Kyle had no intention of leaving, Rachel made some excuses and exited the set. One by one, the crew followed suit. Kyle was left all alone.
He prepared by being a nudist, apparently.
Kyle's first decision of the morning was made wisely. Kyle woke up.
Alright. So there's that. Wait, there's a broken... You can browse social media now. Oh, I imagine a smartphone?
Kyle started to scroll through news articles on his phone. Stay Up Late with Kyle ranked #1 and #2 show on television.
Let's just read more.
New East Bridge being constructed after being found to not actually exist. Authorities investigating. Another grand larceny and crime spree streak. Evidence points to perpetrator fleeing the country. Rachel May to unexpectedly leave the country on very, very long vacation after interview tonight.
Oh, huh.
Who is the bug vigilante recently spotted pursuing larcenists? Kyle fails to show up to several charity events. Bug vigilante shows up to charity events with fresh-baked pastries. Donations flourish. Hot dogs making resurgence as fuel source for both humans and tugboats. Phone model recalled. Techno gym stores blame overuse by customers. Kyle's phone exploded in his hands from overuse.
Oh, alright.
Kyle decided to take some time to choose the perfect outfit, knowing how important appearance is. Kyle miraculously... Kyle... 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 Sitting across
I
from his
wonder if
host
finding
chair was
out
a
that she's
glamorous
leaving
woman
on a
with an
very
air of
unexpected
genuinity.
long vacation comes up on there.
As Kyle approached... Good? Kyle responded. A moment after seating. Good evening. Tonight, Kyle motioned... Well, I'm... Kyle produced the notes he had taken. Right. Well, if that's... Do you prepare... Before Kyle returned... But as he...
No, okay, so it doesn't actually do anything with her, like, disappearing into the night or anything, so... Yeah, I mean, there's other, like... There's tons of endings, apparently. I just... not really sure... what specifically they'd all entail. And as amusing as this is, I don't really care enough to check. So... I guess I could always do like a walkthrough thing and to get all the endings, but meh. I don't know. It was kind of meant just to be kind of a short stream anyways, so something to fill the void while I was bored. But alrighty, I think I'm just gonna call it good enough. That was certainly interesting. I honestly didn't know anything of this game because it's been in my library for a long time, but I didn't ever remember why I got it. Let me see. Does it tell me when I got it? When did I get this? I don't know if it tells me. Yeah, I have no idea. But I figured it had to be in here for a reason, right? Wait, does it show... no. It does not. Okay, well, it's fine. It was mostly out of curiosity to figure out what this was, and I was bored, and I didn't want to do, like, an actual story game, because I don't want to, like, start something and then not be able to finish it. So, it works out, I guess. Alright. You guys have a good night. I don't know what else I'll do. Maybe just chill or something, but... Let me see if there's anyone on. I'm just gonna... I'm just lazy. Alright, well, I'm just gonna call it good enough. I don't know. Anyway, you guys take it easy. Hopefully this is kind of entertaining for a little bit. I don't know. I was really hoping it would be a bit more than just what it was, I guess. I was hoping to be more like Stanley Parable-ish in a way, in the sense of it being more entertaining in the sense. Like, it wasn't bad. It was just kind of I mean, you do a few runs, then you're kind of like, I don't know, I'm kind of over it now. So, oh well, it is what it is. I think I'm just gonna call it. I'm just too lazy to look. So, have a good night. See you guys Friday or something, you know. Okay, I'm gonna get myself food. Take care.